She's the midnight mistress of fairies and dark mischief. He's the paranormal beacon of mystic fairs and government leaking. If the dark side had a prom, they would be the king and queen. They live the metaphysical and make a wicked awesome team. From every single culture in every corner of the globe, they creep the lore and legends just to keep you in the know. For some it's hyperbole, fantastical and myth. For them it's all too real and your paradigm will shift. It's forever Halloween with all treats and no tricks. He's got a thing for witches and she's all Stevie Nicks. So welcome to our carnival of the weird and the bizarre, where UFOs and curses take shape beneath the stars. Sit back, relax, open your mind and stay a few. It's time for John and Stacy, and do we have something for you? Welcome to the Paranormal Sideshow with your host, John and Stacy Edwards of ParanormalSideshow.com. Hello and welcome to the Paranormal Sideshow. I'm your host, John Edwards, and joined as always by my lovely wife, Stacy.
Hello.
And we have a little bit of news. Seems like things are going to be happening here soon with us here at the Paranormal Sideshow. And all of our cool, northeastern stories with our extreme northeastern views. Mm-hmm. Crazy man down the street with the snowblower. Mm-hmm. The 25 inches of snow on a normal Monday afternoon. Mm-hmm. The beautiful lighthouses with ties to your family and how they were bad navigators and crashed on rocks. Everything that we've seen up here and the beauty that is Maine is about to be gone for a short period of time because we have chosen to once again inhabit the haunted South. We will be heading back in just a couple of weeks and maybe have one more show up here and then we'll be back, and the next time after that when you guys hear us
will not be from here.
It'll be from a very haunted town in the South, and we'll be doing a lot of cool things in the South, such as investigating with some old friends. We'll be seeing some old places, some old romps that we enjoyed investigating.
Yes.
We will be going to places like Lexington.
Yes.
And we will be going to things like Scarefest.
Yes, much closer to that now.
We will be going to places like Myrtle's Plantation. We will be going to places like Savannah. We'll be doing a lot of cool things like that, right? And a lot of it.
Yes.
So that was a big deciding factor in us leaving the Northeast, because we've done quite a bit in the Northeast here in a very short period of time in the last 3 years. And the Sideshow has its roots obviously in the Northeast. It's where we decided to really sideshow it up, and we went away from what we were doing and decided to do this little endeavor that will not change, because we said we would not change that, and we will not.
Nope.
But there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, things that have been alluded to in the past and many times.
Yes.
And we were told that it would also be a good for those endeavors for us to be in the South.
Yes, definitely beneficial.
Absolutely. And have that twang. Even though we already have that twang,
we do.
We've got a bastardized version of the twang now that has quite a few different places in it and stuff. So,
right.
But we will be in the South, and looking forward to it. Man, we've already got our place. We are doing our normal thing, which is sell everything we own.
And starting over fresh.
And you guys think I'm joking.
No, we despise moving.
If you were currently...
Like stuff, actually moving stuff.
If you were currently in Central Maine and you were looking on local swap shops and stuff, you would see basically our entire house. We don't like to move things, so we just sell everything really cheap. Give them some examples. What's some prices that we've sold some things at?
Wow, we sold a whole set of 4 snow tires for like $50. Mm-hmm. They were pretty nice.
Yeah, they were really nice.
Sold some furniture, like some chairs and things, for like $20 and $30.
Yeah,
I mean,
probably.
just pretty much. I'll put something up and I'll get a bunch of messages and I'll just sell it to whoever gets to it first, and then everybody else is like, "Oh, I missed that. That was a really good deal." And I was like, "Yeah, it was."
yeah, because we don't like to move. So we like to move ourselves and then buy new stuff, because that's the way we roll. That is the way we roll. It's the way we always roll. We are gypsies at heart, and more than heart, really. We're just gypsies that are stuck in the bodies of responsible people. It's very strange. But, hey, that's the story. We're sticking to it. We're excited about it because we're going to be able to do some things like go to Waverly.
Yes.
A lot easier than we could do before. And it's been a few years. So by now, there's probably, 5-headed demons with strap-ons running down the hallway,
Probably. I mean, we're going to have to come up with some different stories in the wintertime besides snow.
I know.
And the crazy snowblower guy.
So we'll have to talk about the crazy lawnmower guy.
Something.
It's like, can you believe that guy's mowing his lawn in December? It's so terrible. We had to restart 5 times. So pretty excited though, because it's always exciting to do it the way we do it, and we just go for the jugular on these things. We don't mess around.
Nope.
It's like, hey, that's a good idea. Okay, we're done. We're doing it. So there's some other things going on behind the scenes, other things we can't talk about because we love doing that to you guys. This one may or may not have something to do with a book. Oh, so we're gonna write another final chapter.
Final chapter.
This one is the final chapter in Maine, because it kind of close out the story in the Northeast and leave it open for what happens next, right?
Right.
So the next one after this move may be a murder mystery involving Stacy and the disappearance of John's body. We don't know how that's going to be, but there's a lot of exciting things that we're going to be able to announce, that we're actually going to be able to announce before the year's over. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm also excited about the fact that while we do, with our remaining time left, we're going to visit as many of our hotspots, and we have been, that we can visit. We've been going to some magic forest places. We're going to go see Catherine again from Catherine's Hill.
Right.
We're going to do a bunch of our greatest hits before we're out of here, and just really enjoy what it is to be in Maine. And go visit the cold, frozen North Atlantic a few times, because that's probably the saddest part for me.
Right.
It was in the Northeast that I found out I was 95%. 95% from a little circle of Viking towns.
Right.
So I'm 95% Northman. That's insanity. People do their DNA testing, and they're like a little from Bali, and there's a little bit from Guam, and a little bit from here, and a little bit from there. 95%. Because I've watched a lot of these videos. I've never seen like a little circle like that with 95%. Yes. And the majority of that's Scandinavian. And then you got like Northern Ireland, Western Europe, but when you look at it, it's all very tight little circle.
Right.
And so, it's when you break it down, you can keep going and all these things, keep breaking it down, as we talked about before. It's all little Viking villages, so it explains why when I stand there in the cold, frozen North Atlantic and let that water hit me, it just feels like home. Speaking of which, thank God before we left, we got to board the longest, biggest, most grandiose Viking longship that is currently sailing in the oceans of today.
That was very cool.
It was actually built in Norway, and it's called the Draken, Draken. It is amazing. It is actually, I've got a picture here. Maybe we can put this picture up on the website.
Oh, sure.
Because I never posted this one.
No. You did post some pictures to Instagram.
Yes.
Of the ship.
Instagram Hot Viking Dam. If you subscribe. You know, you've seen these already, but you haven't seen this one. So maybe we'll put this up. It's a Viking longship, 114 feet or 35 meters. The width is 26 feet, 8 meters. The height is 79 feet, 24 meters. So the hull is made of oak. The spars are made of spruce. The sail is made of silk. The rig is made of hemp. Surface treatment, oil and pine tar. It is authentic as authentic gets.
Yes.
It is amazing. It's gorgeous. Beautiful. It's gorgeous. And when you get on it and you're in the cold North Atlantic, when you board it, I was just ready to go. I was ready to go. I was ready just to grab a shield and go. And it felt wonderful, didn't it?
It did. It was really cool. I enjoyed it.
Just a wonderful feeling. And just think, you would have been a little slave. I would have picked up this little French Canadian wrench.
Maybe we haven't done my DNA yet.
Yeah, when we come here, and the Vikings obviously came here, and I would have seen you up in French Canada, and I would have been like, Canada, and I would have took you with me. So yeah, pretty cool.
It was cool.
It was awesome to be part of it, and of course I was wearing Thor's hammer. I was wearing some other regalia, and everybody that was working on the ship was like, "Oh, hey, Mark." No, it's kind of funny. We can't go into a shop. There's an awesome New Age shop called Enchanted in this little village, Booth Bay Harbor. It's the most amazing, no offense to any of you other guys out there, because we love you all, but it's the most amazing New Age shop we've ever been in.
It's beautiful. I love that shop.
So far it's cost me a lot of money. And the first time we went in there, Stacy found this, I don't know what it is. It's this weird face thing.
It's a pendant. It's a silver pendant, and it has a stone with a face carved in it. And it's just, I don't know. I couldn't walk by it. I just had to have it. So
yeah, maybe
John bought it for me.
Maybe we need to put a picture of that up, because Stacy never will let us get anything for her. She's always just like, no, that's okay. I don't need it. And so I made her get it. I got it for her. And it's really cool. So I think I'm going to put a picture of this up, because it's weird. It's unique. And then tell them what I got you on the second visit.
So the second time we went, we were walking around, and we actually hadn't seen everything in the whole store, because this place is huge.
Yeah.
And so we were trying to hit some of the spots that we hadn't had a chance to look. And we were in like a section with a bunch of books. And there was this locked glass case, and inside they had this compact scrying mirror.
Yes.
And it's like it's handmade. It's wood.
Oh, it's amazing.
And you can close it. It has like little gold latches, and then you flip them open and you open it, and it's got the obsidian scrying mirror in it. It's very cool.
Yeah. Dragon glass.
Fits right in my purse.
So cool. Yeah, it's very cool. Unique things.
Yes.
Are our weakness. So we're going to own one of these shops someday, and it's just going to be filled with unique things.
Oh, they have so much stuff. Masks and statues and all kinds of, every book you can possibly imagine.
Yeah, they had some cool books. A lot of times these New Age shops are the same books, that you see in other ones, but they had a lot of books on little people that I was interested in, that you don't see everywhere.
There's tons of tarot decks, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so really cool stuff, and it's been a fun time, fun little tour. And also, if you're ever in Booth Bay Harbor, Wanna Waff.
Oh my gosh.
It's my favorite hot dog.
It's the best place to eat. Oh my God. Goodness.
You just sit outside, and it's right there on the harbor, and you just order you a dog, order you a waffle. And it is amazing. You can go have your fancy fish dinners and your lobsters all you want.
We're gonna have some amazing hot dogs and waffles.
Yes, hot dogs and waffles are
very good.
Just the way they go. I'm telling you, some fun stuff, and we're not done. We're going on, like I said, we're going on the big tour. We've already went to the Canadian border, and that was really why we did that. When we told you guys about that, we already were kind of working on this move.
Right.
So there's going to be a lot to this, and a lot of cool things about this here in about a month. A couple of guests that I've lined up already for the show. Not going completely old format.
No,
but when we moved down there, I thought it would be cool to maybe
spruce it up a little bit. I've got a couple of themed episodes that are going to be coming up. We're going to be talking about ITC with a very special guest. I'm not going to tell you who that is yet. And then we're going to be talking about little creepy black-eyed kids. And I'm not going to tell you who that is either. But if you're a long-time listener,
you'll know
already. That's one of our really good friends that we'll be talking about that with. And, who knows? We might talk about Ouija boards.
You never know.
And that would be somebody else that we know. And the construction thereof.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens. We're excited. We stay excited most of the time about one thing or another. And that's the best way to live your life, is make things exciting. Do things that excite you. And if you're not excited, find a way to make yourself excited. Wow. That sounded way sexier than I...
Quite the challenge.
Yeah. That sounded way sexier than I thought it did. Even if that is Cinemax after 11 p.m. Whatever works for you. And speaking of that, ParanormalSideshow.com. That's your address to find everything Cinemax After Dark. Facebook.com/ParanormalSideshow. Action Max. On the Twitter, it's at Sideshow97. HBO Latino. Instagram, Hot Show Time Extreme Damn. It's John and Stacey Edwards. YouTube.com. Search Paranormal Sideshow. I don't have anything for that one. On the Harmar channel, it's I had ran out by that point.
Yes.
Hey, listen, here's the big thing we got to tell you guys about. And you know about the YouTube, you know about all that, especially if you've listened for a long time. We got to talk about Patreon. So this week we got another name to shout out to, Jackie Schiller. Thank you so much. And oh my God, I love your last name, because that's what I'm doing right now.
You're shilling.
I am shilling. That's what I am doing.
Thank you for your pledge.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for the pledge. Thank you for being a sideshow off. And thank you to everybody who has joined so far. We really appreciate it. Go get your neighbor, grab them, tell them they need to join as well. Because you listen to the show on their equipment in the first place, so it might as well sound better, right? It's patreon.com/paranormal sideshow, and that's where you go find out all the different levels that we have, where we give you cool little things we stole off the Viking ship or whatever. We didn't really steal anything much off the Viking ship.
No, it was all bolted down.
Yeah, we tried. But then plus they had a lot of eyes on us, and then, one eye. A little Odin joke. But anyway, we really appreciate everything from you guys so much. And I just wanted to say once again, without going over shield board here, that we love you very much. And because we love you so much, we have an extra super duper pooper looper of an episode today. And yes, Becky Holloman, this is the episode. It's finally coming out there. I wanted to give a shout out, and Shauna Hull, who I meant to give a shout out to a couple episodes back. Thanks for being great listeners and awesome participators. How about that? I need a shirt that says I am an awesome participator. Well, speaking of participation, it's time for some paranormal news. Ow.
All right, so let's get to the news.
You know what we should do?
What?
Before we leave, we should dress Ariana up like Georgie and go have her stand in front of Stephen King's house. Did not say anything for until the cops come.
With the yellow raincoat and the red balloon?
Yeah, just stand out there with a little ship.
I wonder if anybody's ever done that.
I don't know. It's a good way to find out.
Well, that's an idea. We'll put that down for next weekend. I mean, it has been raining quite a lot.
Well,
so.
I was going back and forth between that and egging his house.
Well, let's not egg it.
I don't know. I thought it'd be kind of cool. How many people could say they egged Stephen King's house?
I would like to get a picture, though, standing in front of it.
Oh, well, we've got a lot of pictures where we were stalkingly,
They're kind of blurry because we were driving
by really slow, trying to act like we're not tourists,
he's used to people taking pictures of his house. We'll just go stand up.
You know what the rib is? He probably lives across the street.
It's probably not his house at all.
Yeah.
No, now, have you seen that creepy house?
I know.
The creepy gate?
I know. I know. All right. Plus the friend of mine that is a friend of the guy who was a friend of the guy who actually worked.
Whose brother
worked in the house and made the secret passageways.
That's right. Of course you have to have secret passageways.
That's just really cool. You just sliced the bottom of my foot with your creepy finger toe thing that just sliced my foot.
What are your feet doing all the way over here on my side?
What is wrong with your like nail? What is that?
Why is it toenails?
Why is it hard and like it felt like a shank?
I just need to clip my toenails. It's fine. I apologize. I didn't mean to stab you with my weird knife toenails.
We now interrupt your regularly scheduled programming because, well, there was something come out right after we got done with the podcast.
Yep.
So as per podcasting rules, the second we got done with our podcast, Stacy was nearly done editing, and a major, what I consider a major story has come out, and it was one of those that we could have waited a week on,
right?
But then I just couldn't. The more I had already said, I'm going to wait a week. That's going to be fine. But then it was making like the actual major media outlets, and the more I looked at it, the more incredible I see what this is. So
we're just going to do it.
We're going to do it. Yeah.
All right. So. News story breaking, and this is about liquid water that has been found on Mars.
Yes.
Like an actual lake
is
what they're calling it.
Yes, not a, in the past we've had the equivalent of skid marks in your underwear. Of saying, well, we're pretty sure that there was poop here at one time, but there's not poop here now. And what we have now is a weird crustacean version of the poo that is here. Not to be confused with, the frozenness, that also could or could not be frozen liquid. They're not sure, there may be a gas. We're not really sure what it is. It's a long way, Mars. Long way up there, see? So this is actual liquid salt water.
Yes.
That is under the surface, an actual lake. Right?
That is what it seems like. So what happened was the discovery was made using a radar instrument called MARSIS. It's on board the European Space Agency's,
of course, it's called MARSIS,
Mars Express Orbiter.
Right.
And it used radar to, scan the planet. It's been doing that for a long time. And under the South Pole of Mars, where there's an ice cap, they believe they have found an area that actually has a lake of water, and I think they said that it was the equivalent of possibly a meter deep, which makes it not a puddle or not just random water. It's actually like a lake. They're saying it's probably not a very large lake, and they weren't able to determine how thick it was exactly.
Right.
They're just guessing. But it is significant enough for them to warrant further investigation on it.
It's water.
Yeah.
I mean, this is we haven't looked at the whole planet. So people, I don't think realize, no matter how good your equipment is, look at the fact of Earth and what we still find on Earth. Okay. Each year, no matter what we think we do know already, because we're pretentious like that.
Right.
There's 15 to 18,000 new species of animals discovered on our own planet.
Yes. Oh, we have no idea. And we don't know what's in our polar ice caps and at the bottoms of the oceans.
Well, there's a big hole where the UFOs fly in and out. I'm pretty damn sure what's there. But no, I mean, what's crazy about this is, oh my God, the water of Mars, man. I mean, what's so crazy about it is there's life. I mean, more than likely.
Right. Well, they're not
microbial
saying
life.
That they're saying that it does. Of course, everybody jumps to the potential because this is the first time they found persistent body of water,
right? And
that means that there could potentially be life, and there are good arguments for that. It's under the ice cap. Life can't exist on the surface of Mars, but on the subsurface, that's a different story. The only thing that
it's kind of like saying, "Come on, kids, we're going to McDonald's," and all the kids go, "Happy Meal," You just kind of want a Happy Meal because you're going to McDonald's. But the good thing is what? That we're going to McDonald's.
Right.
We know we're going to eat. All right. But we want a Happy Meal. And I mean, it's one of those things that right now, if the water is real, and it appears that the water is real, then we should have everything we need, considering the water is like the main ingredient in what makes us us.
Well, something that deters that a little bit is the fact that the water is not frozen. And in order for the water to not be frozen, it would have to be very, very salty. And not saying that organisms can't live in a very briny, salty kind of water. But there has to be some kind of...
I mean, that's how, we have babies born, and that stuff's real salty.
Well, the next step...
Some would argue it tastes like pure salt, from what I hear.
The next step is...
I have no clue personally.
Of course not. Of course not.
All right.
The next step is that they need to send some kind of equipment up there to drill through the ice. Now, this doesn't exist yet. This particular technology to do this is something they'll have to work on and figure out. But the next step
I bet
is
there's a guy sitting on a Tesla somewhere out west right now going, I have the drill.
that could do that. They have to drill through it and actually confirm 100% that there is a lake under there.
Yes.
And they're also going to continue the radar scans to try and find more signs like they found here, to see if it repeats anywhere else, to possibly find other bodies of water.
Kind of like the same way they find new planets. When they find one and doing a certain way, then they repeat that over and over. And that's how they found all those new Earth-like planets.
Exactly.
Doing the same kind of scientific measurements, and I love the scientific method. It really works. I hate it when they don't find anything, but then when they find it, I'm like, yay, science.
Well, they do drill into like subglacial lakes in Antarctica and stuff like that. I mean, they can do that. It's just
they just recently did the one not too long ago that was such a big deal because the water was untouched for so many. Right. Remember that?
Yeah. So they just have to take that technology and figure out how to use that in space at Mars.
Right. Well, Elon Musk. And that's my snidely whiplash of cutting edge. He's got all this money.
Oh yeah.
And he loves he
loves challenges.
Oh, he loves challenges, and he loves peeing all over the elites. And like, I don't know if he literally likes peeing over the elites,
right?
But he has enough money that there's a couple of like lesser elites that he could be like, hey, can I pee on you? And they would probably do it just for the $1 million.
I would want him to do it just because if he did find some life,
pee on the elite or take over this.
Take over the Mars thing. He would definitely tell us. He would take pictures and share them, and
or kill you and put you in a Tesla and shoot you off into space
or something
as an astronaut. So this is just a really cool story, and I hope you guys understand why we had to decide to interrupt your programming here and
add it in
and put this story in. I'm glad we did, though.
Me too,
because sometimes it's so funny with these shows. When we get them done, even if they're a good solid show, we just don't have the right title, and titles are important to us.
They are.
Stacy and I care about our titles. We really do.
You can't tell.
we always have. We've cared a lot about our titles. We don't just randomly go, well, let's just call that one whatever, So this one really, there was no title that really grabbed us. It was a bunch of, and I don't know why my voice did that, grabbed us.
I mean, there are really good stories coming up. It's very interesting. There just wasn't one that was title worthy.
Well, they were all kind of equally worthy, and there wasn't like one joke that was just such a joke that it had to be the one. So then there's this Doctor Who episode that from like a few years back called The Water of Mars, and I was just like, that's the first thing I thought of when I seen this. I was like, okay, Water of Mars it is.
There you go. That's the title. All
right, so on to the news. Hey, stick around. It's going to be a really good show. All right.
So let's go on to the first story.
Let's.
All right. So this is an update about the weeping statue. And we've been talking about this the last couple weeks, actually.
Yes, we have.
Because we had the story, and then we were going to do an update last show, and we didn't have one. So instead, we did the whole article about all the different reports.
And the weird thing was they figured out that when you close your eyes and open them, they're a little bit closer to you.
I think that's something different. I don't think that's the Virgin Mary statue.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So we actually have a listener that was updating us on this
awesome
story.
Listener.
Yes, his name is Chris, and he was giving us some updates of things that he found out.
Yes, he was.
And it turns out that there's an article now that has come out. I don't know if it's because he was writing the letters and asking questions, but there is an update in an article. So I'm going to go ahead and go over some of this information. And the Catholic Diocese of Las Cruces has actually made some progress in the investigation. And these things, they take a long time generally.
Right.
And he came out, and the bishop, Oscar Cantu, he came out and he made a statement saying that they did take a sample of the fluid from the sculpture, and they sent it off to have it analyzed, do some chemical analysis on it. And they did determine that it was a scented olive oil.
Right.
And he said that, some of the witnesses where they claimed that it smelled like roses, it was something similar to an oil that he would bless people with, the kind that he consecrates each year and uses it for baptisms and confirmations and things. So it's not a supernatural type of liquid. It is olive oil.
Right, it is,
but they don't know how it got there.
It's a special kind of olive oil that they special order. It's not easily found.
It's not something easily
there.
found. Right. Now, it doesn't say that in this particular article. That's just information that we got, from our friend. So it went on and said that they did investigate the inside of the statue to see if there was something set up in there or they want to try and figure out where the oil was coming from. And there was nothing. There's nothing inside the statue. And not only that, there's no way to tell how the oil would have gotten out from the inside of the statue, like solid bronze statue.
Yeah.
So if it was some kind of hoax, they don't know how it would have been hoaxed. So now it hasn't officially been declared a miracle or anything like that. They're still waiting on a couple of different tests. But I think what he said was that sometimes they use the fruits of the experiment. And what that means by is what the witnesses said. Was it a good experience? Was it a bad experience? Was this something that made you feel good? And up to now, I believe that most of what the witnesses have been saying has been very positive and very good, which would lead people to believe that it was, if it was supernatural, it was something, very spiritual and not something evil.
Right, exactly.
So actually a lot of information, considering they haven't made a final decision.
I keep seeing in my head a TV show like Father Phil,
right?
And instead of Dr. Phil, and he's sitting there, he's going, okay. So what we're trying to do here, Virgin, is find out if this is actually a miracle or not. The tests have been done. We're doing the test right now. We're going to find out today, studio audience. And and it comes back and it's like, all right. And they're sitting there holding hands with a couple of other possible miracles, and it's and of course the diocese from that church, and everything, and they're like, okay, it is a miracle, and it's like, I don't know, because
some kind of trophy.
My head works in mysterious ways. My head is a miracle, and the fact that it's still attached. So Chris has been giving us a ton of information.
He has,
and this is why we like having our network of people from around the world. Just like the people we've had in the past, from Alan to Dr. Nico to Juan Cruz to all these wonderful people that have told us news and gave us stories that sometimes we see months later. Sometimes we have people right down the street that give us great information, and this is one of those instances where above and beyond.
Yes, absolutely.
Above and beyond. So,
absolutely. It is very interesting, and I can't wait to see if they do officially declare it a miracle or not. I'm not sure. I think it's still going to take some time for that to happen. But they did also mention that they talked to the manufacturer of the statue, just to cover all the bases. And the manufacturer was like, there's no way there's moisture in that thing. Yeah. Absolutely no way.
Right.
So very interesting.
Yeah. And thank you, Chris Martin, once again.
Absolutely, for keeping us updated.
Just saying, hey, you're all over it. We appreciate what you do. We appreciate the information that you give. And he's very thorough. Very thorough.
He is. He even told us about how this particular bishop is actually being moved to a bigger area. But I believe that the bishop's really trying to get this concluded before he makes that move.
It probably looks good if a miracle happened on
your watch.
Yeah, on your watch, right?
I guess so.
I mean, no, seriously, that's kind of like making the year, right? I mean, if it was like a retail environment,
right,
they'd be like, oh, hey, he had 2 miracles.
That's positive.
Can you imagine like the job interview for the next level? You're like having to you're sitting across from 3 high archbishops or something, and they're like, can you tell us about a time when you had to face a very ornery demon who infiltrated your church, possibly caused people to stop coming, spread rumors? How many miracles have you overseen or been personally responsible for the church during the time of the miracle? 1. Oh. 1, huh? How many did you have, Francis? 16. What kind of miracle was it, sir? It was a weeping virgin. Oh. How many weeping virgins did we have last week, Pete? I believe we had 18 last week. Yes. Seems like as far as miracles go, it's sort of run of the mill. So you didn't have any Jesus and toast? No.
Jesus and toast.
Well, Jesus and toast, it just happens to be one of our top 3. It's hard to get the toast just exactly right, and to keep it without people eating it, it's very impressive for that long period of time. It normally happens in out of the way areas. And all joking aside, because number one, I don't want to be struck by lightning, and we are totally not making fun of.
No, absolutely not.
Just what we do.
Yes.
We think it's grand, or we wouldn't be spending this much time on it. But speaking of Chris Martin, he told us something interesting, something I honestly didn't know. A lot of times Mary, when she does appear as miracles and weeping virgins, right, it happens in out of the way places, like that's keeping in tune with what she has been known to do. Right. It's not usually in the downtown, like,
Right. You're not in Times Square.
Right. Not Boondock Saints Church, which would be really cool. But great movie. Speaking of Northmen again, let me just jump all around ADD.
Sure.
I showed the girls 13th Warrior.
Yes. Good movie. I love that movie.
That was amazing. Because if you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. It's just great. I don't care what you think about the Antonio Banderas blow-up doll. Back in his day, the Antonio Banderas blow-up doll would have been the only blow-up doll you would want to have. So go watch Desperado and go watch 13th Warrior and tell me that would not be the blow-up doll you would prefer. All right.
All right. Well, let's move on. Now that we've gotten all off subject. All right. So let's talk about that huge sarcophagus in Egypt.
Yes.
The one that they found that we talked about in the last show, the big black granite one.
Yes, that big black sarcophagus that still had the sarcophagus.
They decided that they were going to open it.
Yes, wonderful, grand idea.
Yes, because, they don't believe in a mummy's curse or anything. They're just going to pop that thing open. So they did actually open the sarcophagus.
They did, and they let us know about it, which is all strange.
Which is crazy. Yeah, it was all on video and everything. So what they found inside was the bones of 3 people, and they said it looked like what may have been a family burial, but the mummies inside were not in the best condition. Unfortunately, some water seeped in to the sarcophagus over the years, and it caused the bodies to rot instead of be preserved. So basically they only had the bones that remained, and it was full of some nasty water. Yeah. It smelled terrible from
do you think when they open it, they're just like, hey, Howard, I'll give you $10 if you drink it?
I don't know. Well, the guy that they were talking to in this article, he was actually the first one to put his face down into the sarcophagus to see what was in there, and he said it was overwhelmingly horrible how bad it smelled. I think it's like sewage water, basically, is what's in there. So apparently the sarcophagus was not as airtight as they may have thought.
They never are.
So they feel like...
Damn mummies tell you that it's intact. I don't know why it wouldn't be.
So they're not exactly sure who these people are. They feel like they may have been soldiers or something of that sort. They're still doing studying and testing. And
the sarcophagus said that it rode a horse when it was 12, and that could have possibly damaged it. Took gymnastics.
There was a lot in this article about debunking the myth of the mummy's curse. Like they're like, we opened it, we're all fine, there's no curse. Of course, I'm pretty sure when King Tut's tomb was opened, nobody died immediately.
No.
It was
No, their face don't melt off like Indiana Jones.
Right. Like, I think the curse took a while to, so we'll see. We'll just have to watch this guy and see what happens to him in, a month.
Yeah. I think I would have waited till all the planets were not on the same side. You know what I mean? Like one of these strange celestial events. It's just really weird.
Well, the man's name is Mustafa Waziri. He's the Secretary General of the Supreme Council of Antiquities. So if you hear any weird stories about Mr. Waziri, we'll know that there actually was some kind of mummy's curse.
Yep.
It's like you said before, they, Egyptians cursed everything.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Cursed everything. Well, and so
Well, this wasn't Egyptians really.
No, that's true. That's true. But it was in Alexandria, so
Yeah,
and it was buried there.
It was, but it was sort of like the bastards that did other stuff. Anyway.
Well, as sort of a side note to this story, there actually is a petition on change.org, and I don't know if it's just a joke. It must just be a joke. But a user going by the name Eins Mick, MCK, started a petition claiming that they wanted to drink the liquid from the sarcophagus.
You're kidding me.
No, they
like
called
this
it...
couldn't be set up here, guys. I didn't know this when I made the joke.
No, it actually says on the petition, we need to drink the red liquid from the cursed dark sarcophagus in the form of some sort of carbonated energy drink so we can assume its powers and finally die. I'm pretty sure it's just a joke. I don't think anybody really wants to drink the sewage water.
Oh, somebody does.
And as of the taping of this show, this petition actually has over 22,000 signatures.
Of course
and
it does.
Goes up every few seconds.
Of course it does. Yeah, where's my phone?
You're going to sign it?
Of course I'm going to sign it.
Oh, it's crazy. And the scientists are saying, please don't drink the nasty sewage red-brown liquid from the sarcophagus.
They're saying that because they don't want us to have mummy powers.
Some kind of super, someone would definitely get superpowers from that nasty stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So there you are.
Thank you, weird people.
They opened it, and they're going to send everything over to the museum and, study it. Hopefully we get some more information about exactly who those people were. I believe they said one person looked like they had an arrow wound to the head, so.
Sounds like a weird comedy troupe.
I don't know.
It's like the one had an arrow through his head.
It's weird that they're all in the same sarcophagus. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that was something that was done. So I don't know. Very strange. All right. So staying on the theme of Egypt, there is another story about some archaeologists that discovered a mummification workshop.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah, which is really cool. This is in Cairo. Archaeologists in Egypt stumbled.
It was like learn how to mummify. It's like
yeah, I think there was a big sign outside.
A big sign out front. Mummification class tonight.
So they
right
stumbled
next to like the cooking. Like where they make the blocks of hard bread.
Like different stations, like learn how to pull out the organs, and learn how to wrap, and learn how to make the death mask. No. So it's dating back to more than 2,500 years ago, and it's near and it's near the pyramids at an ancient necropolis south of Cairo.
Learn to write sounds.
So the discovery includes a mummification workshop and a shaft that was used as a communal burial place. And there were actually mummies down in there. I don't know if they were like the practice mummies or, displaying student work. I don't know what that's all about, but it's a very cool find, and they're still trying to get it excavated. They also found a gilded silver mask on the face of a mummy in a badly damaged wooden coffin. So apparently they haven't gone through the coffin making.
They found a
school yet.
Gilded silver or something else up a mummy's ass.
Well, apparently Egypt's gone to great length to, revive its tourism. That's why they keep coming out with all these awesome discoveries that they're finding. That's why they keep giving us, all this information.
Come to Egypt. We promise we're not going to blow you up anymore.
Because I think their tourism has been suffering.
You think?
Yeah, I think so. And so they're trying to boost that by, talking about all the cool things that they're discovering. And it's cool that they're actually, going...
See a pyramid. Leave with your head.
Or somebody else in a bag.
Yeah. It's terrible. I really want to go to Egypt.
I do. I want to go to Egypt so bad.
I do too.
If we go, we're gonna have to do one of those like guided tours with somebody that knows what's going on. Like an actual Egyptian person that lives there. You're
just wanting to be like ripped off. I want to go and make it look like I know what I'm doing. I think the way to do that is not wear the Indiana Jones outfit.
Right.
Like if you show up in a suit and tie, make it seem like I don't care about the pyramid or anything.
Right.
Like we just so happen to be out there. Maybe do the old gimmick like where you're wearing the worker clothes.
Right.
The little orange vest.
You're so going to end up in jail. I'm going to have to try and bail you out of Egyptian prison.
No, listen, we'll take some orange vests with us. And we'll just keep pointing and bitching.
Right.
Like just keep being
have a
like,
clipboard.
Yeah, just keep pointing and be like, I can't believe this. What in the world? Where is Fasarabi? Where is Fasarabi at?
I'm sure your deep Southern accent won't give it away at all.
Well, I could be a contractor. Hello. There's contractors all over the place.
Okay, we'll plan that. We'll work it out.
I'm telling you, it would work out.
It would. All right, well, let's move on. So this next story is about a discovery in space. Awesome. So scientists have discovered 12 more moons of Jupiter.
Wow.
So Jupiter has now raised their moon count to 79.
Ding, ding,
So that's definitely
ding,
the planet
Sorry,
with the
that's
most
the counter.
moons. The next
79 moons.
Yes, the next closest is Saturn, but they only have 62 confirmed moons. So they've discovered 12 new moons, and one of those newfound moons, it was actually named Valutudo, is actually very strange because it travels in the opposite direction as all the other moons. So it's very weird. They don't really understand everything about it yet.
That's really strange. Like, that's
really
almost
strange.
impossible, isn't it?
Apparently not. I don't know. It's like they claim that it's like it's driving down the highway on the wrong side of the road. Like it's just barreling through all that other stuff, but just going the opposite direction as all the other moons.
Do you think like all the other moons are like, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh shoot. Wait a second, oh God. Oh.
So the way they found these new moons is actually they were spied back in 2017 because they were using the giant telescope in Chile to search for Planet X. And, you know, Jupiter was kind of close to the area that they were looking at. And it turns out that they just discovered this new group of moons. So very cool. And they think it's, you know, really awesome that they're still finding things around Jupiter.
Yeah, I mean, considering that it is, I mean, we can actually see that pretty, you know, decently. And
that's a lot of moons. How do you even get close to Jupiter without getting hit by a moon? I mean,
it's just nuts.
79 of them.
79 moons is, I mean, even if they're like microscopic, that's still crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I know Jupiter's a big planet, but
yeah, that's ridiculous.
Gracious, that is. Somebody needs to have a talk with Jupiter about
its
collection, its habit, its hoarding.
See, like, well, I was in love with most of those other planets, and I mean, I know 79 seems like an awful lot, but you know, the universe keeps supplying me with gravity, and
maybe now that it's got the one weird moon, it'll stop.
it's like, well, I should have known better than to mess around with Uranus. We always figured this might come from Uranus if we.
Oh, wow. Okay. So let's move on. This is a story about the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA.
DARPA.
We haven't talked about DARPA in a while. So apparently DARPA has this program called the Next Generation Non-Surgical Neurotechnology Program. They call it the N3 program.
Right.
And back in March, they actually wrote up a proposal where they are looking for people to design, build, demonstrate, and validate a non-surgical neuro interface system. So basically, they want someone to develop a way for soldiers to control weapons and machinery with their brains.
Wow.
Yes, and they feel like we're at a time now where this is something that can possibly be developed.
That is so insane.
Yeah, which I thought was really, really crazy. And so it says that they have two areas of focus. They're looking at possibly a non-invasive approach that includes like sensors, you know, in some kind of device, and what they call a minutely invasive approach, which records your brainwaves. So the whole gist of this is that they want to start developing the technology where soldiers can control things with their minds. And what that entails, we don't know yet because it's just a proposal. They're just looking for ideas and offering funding for anything that they feel like, you know, could be developed. Obviously, they're going to have to go through all the privacy questions, the ethics issues, things like that, and determine if it's a viable long-term, you know, worth studying long term.
Oh, it's worth it.
Yes.
Why does everything have to be for weapons?
You know, I don't know. They feel
Why
like...
don't they ever like come up and go, you know, we would like to develop where you can build cars with your brain.
Well, I mean, I suppose it could develop into that eventually.
But it always starts with weapons.
I suppose it's easier to get funding if people think it's for, safety.
Do you think? I mean, like they're sitting there with the with the Bilderberg group, and it's Bilderberg just happened a few weeks ago, so they're sitting there across from Bilderberg, and it's some young billionaire that's trying to make his name, and they're like, how many souls have you ate? 400,000, sir. How many countries have you funneled funds into to cause a coup? 7, sir.
A coup.
Do you have any ideas on ways to make the world a worse place? Actually, sir, I was looking into this new thing that was coming out, and they use thoughts to control and build things and build things. I mean, weaponize. That's my boy. Throw him $1 billion, Higgins. I mean, that's just the way I see it. It always has to be, weaponized or for weapons or.
Right. Well, they always try to make it sound not bad. Like they claim it's for defense purposes and that sort of thing. And, they know that it's not something that's going to happen tomorrow, but that they hope eventually one day soldiers can control the technology like drones and, defense systems with their brainwaves. And the guy in this article actually said that they don't think about the N3 technology as simply a new way to fly a plane or talk to a computer, but as a tool for actual human-machine teaming. So there it is, where they're trying to integrate.
That's where I'm going.
Humans.
That's what I'm going to do. If they're listening right now, my hands in the air. I'll wave it like I just don't care. So if you guys need a guinea pig and you want to take care of my family, I will put my essence into a computer. I am completely okay with it.
I don't think they want to go that far with it.
Well, I'm just saying, front of the line. Right. You give me a couple of years with the nice bungalow on the island.
Right.
But let me just tell you in all seriousness. I got to educate everybody. I got to smarten everybody up here.
Okay.
That's the way I like to say it. Smarten them up. That's how we say it in the business.
Right.
All right. So if it's being talked about, it's been done.
Oh, yeah.
If they say, people, is this on? Hold on. Let me drink a little bit of this water. Excuse me. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we here at DARPA, we are wanting to create a plane that is invisible, and we totally are looking at 7 years from now. That means the invisible plane is actually circling the event.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And they're making lewd gestures at all of us through their invisible jet.
Right.
And, and for some reason we can't see them in the invisible jet, but they're in the invisible jet.
Like Wonder Woman in her invisible plane.
No, you can always see Wonder Woman riding in the invisible jet.
I always thought that was the silliest thing. What's the point of having an invisible jet?
If you see her flying around.
Flying around in the air.
I guess the confusion factor.
Maybe.
I mean,
why is that woman sitting in the air?
The first time it's going to confuse you, right?
Right.
The first time you're kind of like, what? Did I just see like a star-spangled woman like fly through the air in a poop position? Because it's a very comfortable poop position.
Right.
Hey, whatever happened to that assist-a-poo thing?
I think you can still buy that.
Can you still buy that?
Yeah, like the bench that you put your feet up on, so it helps you get in the proper position to poo.
It makes me want to poop when I see the commercial.
I don't remember what it's called.
We don't talk about poop as a human species enough. like it's something everybody does.
A very important part.
It's kind of like it's something that everybody does,
right?
But nobody talks about it. But in that commercial, when they show like, the blockage, like when they show like if your feet are in this position and it shows this nice little passageway, I'm like, I guess the turds in my belly are kind of like, hey, boss, hey, get that. We've been here since 3rd grade. You shouldn't have swallowed the bubble gum. We want to come out. But every time I see that, I kind of want that. That's just on a side note. Somebody's totally going to get that for Christmas now.
You're going to get it for Christmas.
No, get me that for Christmas.
Yes, definitely.
Please don't buy me that for Christmas.
I won't say it's for you. I'll say it's for somebody else, and I'll conveniently leave it in the bathroom so you can use it without the rest of us knowing. That's the way that works.
Is that why we got a subscription to Playboy?
It's not for you.
Okay.
Okay, so let's move on to this story from Russia. And this is about a strange solar eclipse that happened in Russia.
Strange, like they didn't know it was going to happen?
They had no idea.
Bull crap.
Yeah, so back on July 20th.
Yeah, that wasn't that long ago.
No, it was a Friday afternoon, kind of in the middle of the day, from like 11 to 2. The sun was completely blotted out for 3 hours. Unexpectedly, people were baffled.
So it was 11 to 2 a.m. It wasn't
Yes.
just nighttime and someone messed up.
No, and it's the time of year now where the sun's out a lot. Like they don't get that very often. Normally it's just cold and wintry and dark.
In Siberia.
And so,
yes.
you know, this is the time of year where they're like, oh, sun. And then 3 hours completely blotted out. And not only
I
that,
understand
the
that being
air,
from Maine.
yeah, the air was very thick and it seemed to be like grimy haze. And it actually, this mysterious smog turned barrels of water into barrels of mud, and the lakes, you know, had this filthy black layer of pollution. It was just really nasty. And so people were really baffled. They couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
So one explanation is that, you know, it's wildfire season. There are tons of wildfires going on. And, you know, those clouds can and have been tracked for thousands of miles, you know, before. And so they're saying, well, possibly it's this smog from these wildfires that are going on. But that's not a definite answer. Like they don't know absolutely for sure.
And
they have
block out the whole sun.
no idea why, you know, this happened. I mean, that's apocalyptic.
Siberia is such a cool place. I mean,
Very strange.
you have like missing hikers and it doesn't make any sense. You've got like the big meteor. I mean, there's so many cool, crazy places.
Right.
I mean, I know it's huge, so there's going to be things happen, and it's remote, and you know, there's a better chance, right, of seeing things.
There actually was, it's funny you should say that, there was a story, and this article even mentioned this story, and I'm not really sure how we missed this. It was my fault, but back in March, in this area, somewhere in Siberia, someone found a bag full of severed hands.
What?
Severed hands, like pairs.
No, I get what you're saying.
Hands.
Oh my God.
Someone found it in
Do you
the
think
snow.
they're related to the feet?
No. I think...
No, listen. Listen to me. Listen. What if somebody's like found a bunch of evil freaking wizards and they had to like put them on different corners of the earth? So in British Columbia, they put their feet. In Siberia, they put their hands.
No, I believe that they determined that these hands that were all in the same bag were from some kind of laboratory that they just didn't dispose of them properly.
Well, that's
obviously,
even creepier.
they were out by some lake or something. I don't know. I'll link that article. There's still an article about it.
They were doing a test on them.
Very strange.
The hands were really
very
mad.
strange.
They were all in the middle finger position.
Well, that's what I would have done with them. And there was a story recently, too, where there was some kind of industrial rain that came down this parking lot. It looked like blood was falling. That just happened recently in Siberia. I know there was one article where this plane dropped a bunch of gold bars when it took off. The cargo thing opened and a bunch of gold like fell down out of the plane over a few miles. So yeah, a lot of weird stuff happens in Siberia. It's very crazy. And so now this weird 3-hour solar eclipse that nobody can figure out. So I have to keep checking up on that to see if they ever figure out the definite. They'll probably just say it was the wildfires, but...
You know one thing that bothers me?
What's that?
The Costa Rican spears.
What about them?
That they're there and that we don't really know why. And those little spears are all over the globe. They find them in different places, and there's some places where they say it's a natural thing, like there'll be rocks of spears like that, and then there'll be bigger ones and smaller ones. Recently I seen a story where there was a lot of those.
You wouldn't think that the spherical shape is like natural, where it's so smooth like that.
I don't believe it is. Not a perfect circle.
No.
I believe that's part of the whole, like, we found, I don't know.
It's weird.
I mean, planets are like, you know, somewhat circle.
Well, yeah, but, you know, that's different.
Yeah, I know. It's just, it bothers me because things like that are out there that we still can't explain.
I know. And they, you know, they just try to give it some mundane scientific explanation.
Yeah, when it was obviously like
something
giants playing a game.
Could have been.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I think it was like, Titans or something. They were just like playing cribbage.
I mean, that is a logical theory.
I don't know how logical it is, but it's a theory.
It's a theory.
I believe that they're all going to activate at some point, like a movie.
Right.
Like, not just activate, but at some point, like I could see the villager, like walking through, like, whatever villagers do. And all of a sudden, it would be like a blue light, okay? And it would like go in a circle around it, and then there would be some weird alien writing, because we know alien writing can never make sense.
Right.
It can never be like a circle or something that looks like an A. It's always going to have to be like dots, and because as advanced as they are, they just wanted to make a very confusing language.
Right.
And so all of their looks, really confusing. Sorry, did I just say I didn't mean to say Okay, anyway, so all of their stuff makes it very confusing, but yeah, I just see like the blue light. You know what blue light I'm talking about, don't you?
Yes.
And it's at the first of a movie, and they start opening up, and out of them there comes something like the little droid on Hoth. You remember the little, like, the Imperial droid they sit down,
right?
And it's
right.
like,
so you're saying all these spheres are alien eggs or pods of some type?
I hope they're dragon eggs or dinosaur. What if they're dinosaur eggs?
I don't hope there's anything in them, because whatever it is, it's going to be a lot bigger than us.
Not necessarily. Maybe they used to be born full grown. And they're not big at all. It's like that changed as years went on. You guys started growing. We were born as adults.
Oh, wow. Okay. How about a ghost story?
How about it?
Okay, let's talk about an interesting ghost story / sighting.
Okay.
So this is a story about the director for the movie The Nun, which is coming out in September. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see it. So his name is Corin Hardy. And he did this interview, and I will link to it, and you can watch it, where he is describing this thing that happened to him on the set.
Right.
So one scene that they were filming for The Nun, they had to do it in Romania. Ooh. And they went to this...
It's based in Romania, so it's really cool that they actually filmed it there.
Yeah, they went to this Romanian fortress. It's a fortress that was used to like store weapons and things like that. And so he said that it was very dark, it was old, and it was like a maze. Like there's lots of corridors and tunnels and little, rooms off the corridors and stuff. And so they have this one shot, he called it the Corridor of Crosses, which just sounds really spooky.
Yes.
And he said it was a 200-foot long corridor, and it just kind of went down, and there was no light down there. Like the only light was what they brought. And so he was trying to get this really awesome shot, and in order to get the shot, he had to be off camera. So he went down the corridor, and he stepped off into like a cell. There were like these little rooms off of the corridor.
Right.
And, there was no way out of those rooms. It was basically just the corridor and then the storage rooms.
Yeah.
And so he went down and he stepped off into the cell where he was going to sit off camera. And when he went in, there was a couple other people in there, and he was like, hey, and they didn't say anything to him, but he was like, we had a lot of Romanian crew members, and he's like, I figured they were sound guys, and they were just sitting there. It was no big deal. So he sat down and he's looking out the door, and he said it took him like 30 minutes to get the shot exactly the way he wanted it, like it, all the turns and twists and whatever they were doing. And so when he finally got the shot, he was like, yes, I got the shot. And he said he turned around and asked those guys, he was like, did you see that? Nobody in the room.
Wow.
Yeah, no, not a single person in the room. And he's like, there's no way they could have left. He's like, I know they were back there because I felt them back there. Like, how you can tell when people are sitting behind you? He's like, I felt them sitting there. He's like, but when I turned around and talked to them, they were gone.
Oh my God.
So that was his, really creepy ghost sighting. It reminded me of your Waverly story, with the guy in the chair. But I thought that was really cool because, he was like, I guess it was just, a couple of Romanians just seeing what was going on or whatever. And obviously a very old and creepy place to be already.
Yeah, Romania is
very
an old,
cool,
creepy place anyway, with their death forest out there.
But yeah, I'll link to it, and it's just like a short video. He's doing an interview, and you can hear him tell the whole story and all
That's
its
awesome.
gory detail. It's very cool.
Oh, that's really cool. I mean, I love the whole Conjuring universe. I won't even read anything negative that comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Like if there's something negative about any of the stories of how they got, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like it's like one of those things like I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Until that point with a lot of things in society.
Right.
Where, you know, it seems like someone always wants to put something negative on it.
Yeah.
So it's like if you come out and you're like, oh man, I love the color blue.
Mm-hmm.
And people come out and go, hey, you know what blue did to pink? You know, and originally red had the role, but you know,
right.
And I don't care because I love blue.
Right.
So
yeah,
just let me
Everybody has their own opinion.
Just let me enjoy blue.
Well, I mean, even over the years, we've seen a lot of movies that we didn't watch right away because people were like, oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
And now we look for the ones with the lowest score.
Yeah. And, you know, it doesn't follow the proper storyline or whatever.
Well, it's just like we're fans of DC. Mm-hmm. Huge fans of DC. And I don't normally take sides like on the podcast. You don't know. You know what? You don't know no matter how much you listen what side of any argument that we're on. Mm-hmm. Because we do that for our listeners.
Right.
And I'll be honest with you and just tell everybody the reason for that is because we do that so you can have an escape.
Right.
We do that because we respect you. Mm-hmm. And you don't listen to our show to be upset. You don't listen to our show to have anything but a escape for an hour or 2 hours from the mundane existence of your day.
Right.
Not to say that your day is mundane, but mine usually is. So I'm just I'm just saying, you know,
based on our experience.
Based on our experience of days.
Exactly.
There is a bunch of mundaneness. Mm-hmm. And we do this, and Stacy and I a long time ago when we first got into it, we decided, you know, we had a discussion. Mm-hmm. And we set ground rules. Things we aren't going to take sides on, things we aren't going to discuss. Right. And as far as personal lives and stuff, we were like, it doesn't matter. We will go full on. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And we'll make people part of our family. Right. And we will not hide things from them. We will not be fake. Mm-hmm. You know, all that good stuff. If we want to talk about the poop commercial, we'll talk about the poop commercial. That's just us. But then we'll turn right around and give you a very serious news story. Right. And then we'll, you know, Stacy sometimes will look for 6 hours into a story. She'll call countries, and try to find out things for stories. Mm-hmm. We'll go to the ends of the earth to investigate things. But you know, we also like to keep it real, and we like to be nice to other people.
Right. I mean, we'll give you our opinion, but that doesn't mean that our opinion is the right opinion. You know, that's just what we think. Like if we believe one thing and maybe not another, you know, but we're not going to make everybody else believe that too.
Yeah. And we will absolutely, though, we try to let you escape and not ever put you in a position like you are when you scroll through your Facebook. Right. Because you're either one way or you're another in a lot of polarizing things in today's society. Mm-hmm. So we try not to do that. But I draw the line with one thing. I really love DC. Right. Right. Stacy loves DC. Mm-hmm. Okay. And the reason is we like gritty, dark, put the dark filter over the lens. Mm-hmm. Give us a gritty story. Right. Make Batman middle-aged and kind of angry. Mm-hmm.
Give him problems.
Yeah. Give him problems. Mm-hmm. Give him issues. Mm-hmm. You know, give me some stuff that's hard to overcome. Give me someone insecure enough to keep serums and ways to kill all the other superheroes. Yeah, you know,
I mean, I want to see a superhero that makes a bad decision every now and then,
or
makes them real.
Yeah. No, I will admit, Marvel makes great movies. This is not a DC Marvel debate. No, this is me saying that people just had to ruin DC franchises, and I think after there was one movie. Granted, they made Green Lantern. That was a terrible movie. Yes. It was a horrible movie. It's hard to make it through it. Mm-hmm. But I loved the. I will say there's a big difference in the editors or director's cut, whatever they call it, of Batman v Superman. Mm-hmm. There's a big difference in that and the edited version. Right. Those extra 31 minutes or whatever make all the difference in the world.
You know, I noticed that with a lot of movies. Like when you watch the movie with the stuff that they cut out.
Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I mean, Harry Potter's great, but
sometimes
it makes
the
a
story
difference.
makes more sense.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for directors and editors that are forced to cut things out because of time constraints and stuff. That must be really difficult.
It would be an interesting show to do, but I know for a fact, this is one we should have Cody on, because I know he would know about a lot with the horror movie genre. But there has been a lot of directors over the years that have had their films butchered. Butchered. There is one movie really kind of religious themed. I've not seen it, and somebody's going to be like, you haven't seen it. I think it's called Kingdom of Heaven.
Right.
Has a lot of stars in it that I love, but they cut a crap ton out of it to the point where it didn't even really make sense. It was kind of loose, but when there was a director's cut, it completely made sense.
Right.
That would drive me insane as a creator.
Yeah, me too.
Because, you know, I've created music. We have just written a book. And can you imagine having half of it taken out?
Yeah, because, you know, when you make something, you have your vision for it. You tell your story and you want it to go a certain way, and then somebody comes behind you and is like, oh, I don't think we need that, or take that out.
Well, that has happened to us.
Oh, it's awful.
That happened to us on documentaries that we were making.
That's true.
Just to shoot on it. We wanted them to be a certain way, and somebody was like, no.
Yeah.
No.
And then they changed it.
Yeah. And that happened to me on an album. Even though I was paying for it. There's like, no, I don't think that bass should sound like that. That's too funky, you know? And
well, anyway, bottom line is we watch what we want to watch, regardless of what people say.
Absolutely.
Because we realize that just because somebody else didn't like it doesn't mean that we aren't going to like it.
And that's just what I'm trying to say to everybody out there. Just, you know, I think everybody's getting to that point. I really do. I don't think it's just me. I think a lot of times that the feelings you're getting, the world's getting.
Right.
You know, sometimes you can feel that needle moving, and it really feels that way for me, for people just being sick of the... People are sick of the crap. They're just sick of the arguments. One way or another, you're just kind of tired of it.
Right, right.
And it's just like, let me enjoy Blue. Just let me enjoy Blue. It's not hurting you for me to like Blue.
No.
And I love Blue. So there you go. Blue's actually not my favorite color.
No, it's my favorite color.
It is, yes.
I love blue. All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about some really cool skywatching events this summer that are coming up. And of course, we already talked about the lunar eclipse.
Yes.
On the 27th, because it's going to be the longest lasting one this century. And I didn't bring any of the stories, but I'm pretty sure there's some kind of end of the world scenarios floating around out there.
There really is, yeah.
Yeah. There usually is with big...
No, there's some big end of the world scenarios coming up.
Where people are talking about the blood moon and the longest lunar eclipse.
Yeah, there's some big end of the world things coming up.
Yeah, so there's a couple of those. So it's going to happen on the 27th. Those of us in the Northern Hemisphere are not actually going to get to see it live, but you can go to a website, timeanddate.org, I think is what it is, and they're going to live stream so you can actually get a good view of it if you don't live in Africa or South America or wherever else that you can see it from. So very cool. The eclipse is going to be visible for 3 hours and 55 minutes, but the total lunar eclipse is 1 hour and 43 minutes, which is a really long time for the moon to be blocked out. And I believe that the live stream, for those of us that can't see it, starts at about 2 p.m. And it's timeanddate.com is the website.
Absolutely.
Yes. So that's one of the things that we actually get to see. There is another event that you can spy in the skies right now, and it's Mars. Mars is actually very close to Earth now, and it makes it very bright in the sky, where normally it would not be one of the brighter planets that you can see. It actually is making its closest approach to Earth on July 31st.
Yeah.
So you'll actually, you'll be able to just look in the sky and see it. There it is, bright red star. So that's kind of very cool. It's actually in this state called Mars opposition, and that just means that it's on the opposite side of Earth than the sun is. And it's also very close. So that's a couple of reasons why it looks brighter. It's very close, and so it's very easy to see.
So here's this one on the Deccan Chronicle.
Okay.
It says, end of the world, longest blood moon of the century to spark apocalypse next week. The article's from July 23rd. Begley, along with others, believe the astronomical event was foretold by the book of Revelation, the book of Acts, and the book of Joel in the Bible. In a shocking, bizarre revelation, Christian preacher Paul Begley has revealed a full lunar eclipse on July 27th will see us enter the end of the time on Earth. Along with others, believe the astronomical event was foretold, blah, blah, blah. It's revealed to viewers on his YouTube channel, because that's where Jesus would want it to be revealed, I'm sure.
Of course, on YouTube.
And, hopefully not be demonetized. But for that, we have the longest blood moon of the century at 103 minutes. So another reason to say your prayers and eat your vitamins, just interesting stuff.
Well, I mean, we get them every year, the end of the world scenarios. And the last thing that you can see is the annual Perseid meteor shower. It happens every August.
It does.
It's actually already active. It was started being active about July 14th to August 24th, but the peak activity occurs on August 11th and 12th.
I think we talk about it every year.
We do, because we like to remind people, that you can go out and see, because you don't need a special equipment or telescope or anything. You just basically need to get out of town where there's not a lot of lights.
Yeah.
You have a big open sky.
Right.
And if you go on those particular
Siberia is nice.
peak nights, yes, it's a little harder to sit outside in Siberia. But if you go on those peak days, you can see tons of shooting stars, lots of meteors flying through the air. So very cool. And while we were talking about the, end of the world happening with the lunar eclipse, there was this other article, I think you sent it to me, about the Google Translate weirdness.
Yes.
And I think it said that if you go onto Google Translate and you type in the word dog, and you pick that you're translating from Yoruba to English, the translation for the word dog is just dog.
Right.
But if you type it in like 22 times, then supposedly it comes up with this message saying that the doomsday clock is at 3 minutes and 12, and that it's, basically the end of the world is coming, and it's the end times and Jesus is returning.
So I've got a couple of questions about that.
Okay.
Number one, we tried it and it didn't work.
Right. I'm pretty sure that
they must have fixed it.
Yeah, if it did work, then they fixed it.
So number two, do you think somebody was trying to type God?
Maybe.
Number three, why did somebody type dog 22 times?
I have no idea.
From what to what? No, seriously, from
Yoruba to English.
Okay, so why in the bloody hell were they typing anything from Yoruba?
I have no idea.
And then when they did, why would they type dog 22 times?
I don't know.
See what I'm saying here, though? It's kind of bizarre.
It is.
Like, it's almost like the guy at Google that did that and then leaked that.
Right. Was just trying to be funny.
Because otherwise... Yeah. How the hell? I mean, do you think somebody just sits around and goes, all right, well, I'm going to try to go from Slovakian to Turkish and type, Botswana.
Well, I feel like that the people at Google,
it's a
very fun atmosphere to work in. Have you ever seen pictures of people that work at Google?
It looks wonderful.
So, they are obviously just having a laugh, and they're probably thinking, who is ever going to translate the word dog 22 times from Yoruba to English? But if they did, they should get this cool message. I don't know. It's very strange, considering that the translation of just dog is dog. You would think the translation of 22 dogs is just 22 dogs.
Maybe now.
Which it is now.
Maybe if you just type 22 dogs.
It'll give you
a message.
I didn't try that.
Yeah, well.
Should have tried it.
Well, somebody else tried it.
All right. So let's move on. So let's get to a story that's actually from Maine. Thought I'd do a nice Maine story.
To talk about how the weather is soup outside?
Yes, that's exactly what the story's about. No, this is a story from Durham, Maine, and it's about this woman named Tia Wilson, and she set up a game trail camera, like a game camera, before she went on a camping trip, because she was trying to catch some pictures of a fox that has been killing her chickens this year. And so when she came back from the camping trip over the weekend, she was looking at the pictures, and there's one picture that has a man that looks like he's wearing a rucksack standing near her front door.
That's weird.
At like 8:58 on Saturday night. And he was not in one picture, he was in the next picture, and then he was not in the next picture.
Wow.
Now, the camera takes pictures in like 10-second intervals. So some people are claiming, well, he could have come in frame, could have been someone walking through your yard, could have come in frame and left before.
In a rucksack.
Yeah. Before the pictures were taken. But she claims that, any of the cats or foxes or things that she saw, you see them in more than one picture, like at the edge of the yard and in the middle, that she didn't feel like whoever this was could have moved fast enough to get out of frame for the whole picture, for just being in one picture. And it didn't really look like he was walking through the yard. It kind of looked like he was looking at the house. So it was just very odd.
Very creepy.
Very creepy. She does live in an 1820s farmhouse.
Oh.
So it's a very old house. And she did ask one of her neighbors if the home she lived in had ever been home to anyone that was in the military. And I think through some digging, she learned that there was a man named John who had fought in World War II.
Of course, a
that
Mainer
lived
named John.
in that house. And supposedly he came back from the war and proposed to the love of his life. And on their wedding day, he showed up, but she didn't show up. And he ended up living in that house by himself until he died.
Poor John.
So that's all the information she was able to find out. So now some people it's kind of a big debate because some people don't think that it's a ghost, and she thinks that it might possibly be a ghost. I don't think she said definitely. The thing that goes against her is she actually does run a website. She is a paranormal person, and she runs a website on Facebook called
I don't think that goes
Quest for
against
the
you.
Unknown.
I think that leaves you open for it.
Well, see, that's what I thought. That was the point I was going to make.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at some of the comments, like, oh, isn't it convenient that this happened and she runs this paranormal website, and isn't that funny and strange? And actually, we have stuff happen to us all the time.
All the time. Every day.
Because we do this. And I feel like, in her defense, the more you do the investigating, I think this stuff's more likely to happen.
We should reach out to her before we leave.
We should.
It's just right up the street.
This was actually in a central Maine newspaper. I think it actually made the rounds on a couple other publications. So there are several articles out there, and I'll link to this, and you can look at the picture. It is very intriguing. I don't know enough about game cameras. I know we've used them in the past.
We should go get on her game camera.
Hold up a sign.
Yeah.
I don't really know enough about looking at the pictures to be able to tell.
We could put the baby in something crazy.
Make him toddle through the yard.
Yeah, just having like in one of those old weird dresses or whatever that they put boys in.
That's funny. That's funny. You can put a little wig on him.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Right.
We're terrible. We're talking about hoaxing something.
We would never try to pass it off as real, though. We would just laugh and say it was a joke.
Yes, after they're terrified.
Right. We'd let them be scared for a good minute.
No, we should go up there and check it out. But yeah, I mean, basically my answer for that story is let me love the color blue, please.
Exactly.
Okay, just let me like blue.
And it is a cool picture, and I urge everyone to go and look at it and decide for yourself what you think. I mean, I know some people thought that the figure in the picture was facing a different direction than what she thought, and it's a little bit hard to tell because it's a trail camera picture and it's at night. But you have to go look and just decide for yourself, I suppose.
Okay.
All right, so I got a few more stories here. This one I thought was really cool. It's about a mother and a daughter who actually won an online auction to spend the night in the Lizzie Borden's bedroom. And it's the actual room where the murders happened, and then they're going to spend the night on August 4th, which is the anniversary of the murders. And so it was it was an online auction, and this girl named Sarah Love, she lives in New York. She actually paid $425.
That's not bad.
For a night in the room, and it was like a gift for her mom, a retirement gift for her mom. And so they're going to go together.
I'm going to take you here and kill you.
They're going to go together on August 4th.
I'm going to claim that Lizzie took over my body
and spend the night. So I thought that was really cool. I hope somebody does an article with them after they spend the night.
Dude, I'm totally writing a short story. Don't want anybody steal this that's listening. You do that, you pay for it,
right?
You take them there, and then you kill them and claim that you were possessed by a ghost of Lizzie Borden.
Yes, very Amityville horror. Yes,
it is.
But I hope that somebody actually does do an article after they stay in the room to see if anything happened.
I hope the girls actually just do some live cams. That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be cool. See if anything was going on while they were sleeping.
Yeah.
All right, so this is another kind of interesting historical thing that's going on. And this is from Joliet, Illinois. And this is the Joliet Area Historical Museum. They're going to start hosting guided tours of the prison there. And this is the prison that was made famous by the Blues Brothers. In that movie. And it's the old Joliet prison, and they've been kind of restoring it, sort of hoping to, bring it back to life. Yeah. It's not completely done yet.
Yeah.
I think that the people that are working on this actually went and visited Ohio State Reformatory, where Shawshank Redemption was.
A damn good job there.
Because they already do this sort of thing. They already offer the tours and make it a tourist thing. And this is what they want to do in Joliet. And so it's going to open later this summer, and it's only a $20 tour. Like, it costs $20, and it's very long. It's like an hour and a half, and they take you around the prison. You get to see all the, things you see in a prison, the cells, and the death row.
And here's our cells.
You get to walk the way the prison's walked.
Here's more cells, and here's our black mold. And
they'll have a thing set up for you to take pictures, and it just sounded really cool. And I'm curious how long this will go on before they start doing the paranormal tours. That's what I'm waiting on.
Here's the warden's room. Here's the infirmary.
I hope they have a good, this is where this famous prison died place too.
Yeah. Al Capone's cousin.
Al Capone was in every prison.
Pal Rapone. Yeah. All right.
All right, so let's go on to this next story. And this is about a possessed student who disrupted a lecture at her college in Nigeria.
I want to move to Africa.
Do you?
I know. I mean, it seems like we get so many cool grade school stories or college stories or institution stories in Africa. There's a lot of seems like there's a lot more openness with a lot of the possessions, and
a lot more dangerous to go to school.
Yeah, it seems like the demons are a little bit more like aggressive.
Maybe, yeah. Sounds like it. Well, this is about a Nigerian girl who's seemingly possessed by dark forces, and it's actually just the latest case for a college that is apparently has quite a genie problem, they say.
Oh,
yes. So,
cool.
So according to a local media report, a math class at the university had to be stopped because this young woman began convulsing and speaking in tongues. And they were convinced that she had become possessed. So they took her out of the classroom and into the hallway. And they didn't take her to the clinic. They sat her down, and another student started praying over her, doing Arabic verses and things like that, trying to make the episode come to an end. And, it seems odd that the onlookers would immediately come to the conclusion that, she was possessed by a genie or a demon. But apparently a lot of the students, especially in this media report, said that this sort of thing had happened to them too. And that one girl said her parents were lost to help her. It took a while for her to get over it and to stop being possessed by these dark spirits.
Yeah, no, I totally buy it, because I think it happens here all the time, and
right,
it's just they're like, they're just in college, it's just a phase. They'll grow out of it, and I think if we looked at it more of what it was,
right,
that's really crazy though. I mean,
didn't just say that was a silly idea. Actually be open-minded to it.
Right.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. Well, I know in this article, one student explained to the newspaper that genies are invisible creatures that can possess anyone when exposed to things that attract them, and that if the entity attaches itself to an individual, that they begin to act irrationally. And so this is a really widespread belief among the student body that this particular, college has lots of genies in their midst.
And this is at a facility of higher learning.
Yes, a university.
That's what I like about it.
Yes. So,
Africa, doing it right.
Well, some of the students say that the victims may have unknowingly exposed themselves to being possessed. And that they think that
you waited too long to finish that sentence. I was gonna be like, yeah, I understand college and unknowingly exposing yourself.
And
sorry, ma'am.
The one girl that said that she had that problem before said that she had no idea what was going on whenever she would become possessed, that she would lose consciousness, but then wake up later and realize that some strange things had happened, and obviously she had lost time.
Friends had like written whore and permanent marker across her forehead.
Well, it was very traumatic. She said she couldn't participate in any public activities
Penis
or
on her
anything
cheek.
until she took care of the problem. Now, it didn't say, she never did say how she got rid of the problem, and it didn't say what they were going to do going forward for this girl or for the university. But our whole article was just about the incident that happened, and that the fact that this university has had this problem before.
The incident.
Yes.
I like that.
So if you go and look at the article, the name of the university is in the article. It's very long.
That's a weird name for a university.
It is. So, if you're thinking about going to school in Nigeria.
In the article.
Yes.
It's a hell of a university.
Beware. All right, so I have one final story.
All right.
And this is kind of an interesting story. And when you go to the article, there will be a video of an interview with this woman.
Okay.
Who is having a problem because her ducks have started going missing. And she had a bunch of ducks. And this is in Australia.
That's quackers.
Yeah, it is. It actually says she's not quackers is what it says in the headline.
Of course it does.
The headline says abducted.
Oh my God, that's too much.
It was a little too much.
That's too much, especially when we had a horrific tragedy on a duck boat this week.
It is. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bad timing on the story. I'm ashamed of you.
I'm not the one that brought the boat up. I'm talking about actual ducks on land. So no shaming on me. All right. So this woman talks about her land where she had all these ducks, and that the ducks started going missing one at a time over several weeks.
God dang it, cartoons.
And she claims that there's no sign of forced entry. Like they're in an enclosure. There's no sign of forced entry.
What would forced entry look like in the enclosure?
Like if an animal ripped open the fence or tried to get in.
Just wondering.
There were no parts of the ducks left behind, no big things of feathers or no signs of a struggle, no blood. There's no carcasses laying around, that sort of thing. So she claims
were the other ducks nervous or anything?
Well, she only has 2 ducks left. And she said that whatever is doing this left her 2 worst ducks. She names all her ducks, and she's been left with her 2 worst ducks, Squawky Duck and Old Duck, who's a bit senile. So
Squawky Duck?
Squawky Duck and Old Duck. Those are the only 2 ducks she has left. Now, these are very large ducks, and she just has no idea how they could possibly have gone missing. And so the woman interviewing her asked her if she thought that perhaps it could be aliens. And she said, it possibly could be. I'm not ruling that out because there are no signs of anything else. No signs. So, very interesting article and video.
So
definitely.
What kind of predators are in that area?
It's Australia.
Oh, God. Like, I missed that part of it.
It's in the Northern Territory.
Is that actually, are we talking an actual mystery here?
Well, she said that.
No, just stop. Just stop. That's not even, I can't believe they waste time or journalistic. No wonder it was a bad pun to start with. I know we have a lot of listeners. Maybe a freaking 1/5 of our listeners come from Australia. I love all of you. Good day. Good day to all of you. But you live in a dangerous country. A dangerous don't go outside.
Yes.
Don't, check the back of your closet because there's probably a dead wolf, spider, killer, tarantula, cat. I don't know, but that's what happened to your duck. You know what happened to your duck? Australia.
Well,
happened to your duck.
In the same enclosure, she actually has chickens, horses, and a rooster
and
in the same enclosure. And she said that there were no signs of snakes either, and that one snake couldn't eat that many ducks in that amount of time.
Oh, I'm sure.
So, so it's very puzzling for her. She has no idea how it's happening, and
snakes cover their tracks there.
Particular area.
What about the birds that set fires?
It's a rural area, and in that particular area, there actually has been a lot of UFO sightings in the last few months, past year, that kind of thing. So, it's interesting article. She's an interesting woman.
I tell you, man, Australia is a beautiful place.
It is.
But something's going to happen. I know I'm going to be transferred there.
To the outback. My favorite part of that entire article is the fact that she names her ducks and she calls them by name, like Black Duck, Squawky Duck, Old Duck. I mean, she like has the names for all her ducks, and they're all
like
something duck.
You and those domesticated squirrels out back.
That one squirrel we saw today, I waited for him to come down, and he just laid on that branch like he was part of the branch, like he thought I couldn't see him. He was like as still as he could be. It was great.
Yeah, I've seen him not care. I mean, I've actually seen him just come over and like pick up the peanuts and shake them.
There's one big one that does that. This one was a smaller one. I think it was scared. Yeah,
well, anyway, it's the people would have to live with you to actually understand just the extent of the animals. And oh God, we're moving back to the south, so God only knows what we're going to have around the house. It's but anyway, thank you for the news.
You're welcome.
All right, well, here we go again, kids. It's that time. It's one of our last episodes in the north. It's actually the penultimate northern episode.
It is.
So this is, get used to it. Next time we'll have some good stories about, egging Stephen King's house. And son of a bitch, if it gets egged, we're going to go to jail.
I know, and you've said that. We're not really going to egg his house. I wouldn't egg his house.
I would totally do it.
I know you would, but I wouldn't.
Just to see him. Maybe he'd be like good natured about it.
I doubt it.
Or maybe he'd come out and he's getting older and he'd be like, and shake his fist. Write a book about it.
Let's just stand at the front gate and run a stick back and forth across the bars till he comes out.
I'm telling you, I don't know. I think there's something with the dude that like whatever he writes happens or something. He writes you in this book and you're just done. But kind of like ParanormalSideshow.com, that's your address to fund everything Stephen King. Facebook.com/Paranormal Sideshow, Mr. Mercedes. On the Twitter, it's at Sideshow97, bit of carry. Instagram, Hot Shining Damn, it's John and Stacey Edwards. YouTube.com/Paranormal Sideshow, that's where you get all your good Cujoies. And on the Patreon, give me a Stephen King story. Really your favorite one. I pitched to you because I know which one you're going to say.
The Gunslinger.
Okay. It's ridiculous.
It's the Dark Tower series.
The Dark Tower series on patreon.com. Please don't look that up because I'm sure it's something. Patreon.com/Paranormal Sideshow. That's where you can go give to the fact that we're idiots and we need all the help we can get. For my lovely wife, Stacy, my name's John. So long from the Sideshow.
Good night.
Hey guys, if you like what you've heard, please check out ParanormalSideshow.com and follow the links for our weekly podcast. Also, become a sideshow off yourself and pick one of our killer levels on our Patreon to help support the channel and help keep us bringing you bigger and better content. So until next week, for my lovely wife Stacy, I'm John Edwards. So long and
stay strange.